So, Terrence, you did not see this movie, so this conversation will be Micah and I being giant Star Wars nerds for a minute.
Yeah.
Micah, are you taking the I hated it side of the argument? And I 100% no redeeming qualities. I will take the I love it side of the argument, no criticism, and then we'll just battle like idiots.
I'd rather see that.
Okay.
than the nuance.
I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
Because I like these movies. I don't care about them that much. What I will do, because
I like the movie, but I did see flaws because I'm a human being.
Right. What I will do is I will offer a counterpoint, because Jack was supposed to be on here, but I forgot to tell him that we were recording on a different day. Sorry, Jack. And he was not a huge fan of the movie. And he brought up an article of things that succinctly allow him to air his grievances about the film. One of which is that Snoke, he felt that in The Force Awakens, Snoke was made to be a big deal. And in The Last Jedi, spoilers for The Last Jedi, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to talk.
I mean, everyone's seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Everyone that matters has seen it. So,
well, that was
fucked up.
Yeah, that was a little rude, but I mean, it was accurate.
Yeah, fuck you.
Go on.
So yeah, in The Last Jedi, you get to see Snoke in his beautiful chamber, and
all red everything.
Yeah, and he is dispatched rather easily.
Yeah.
I'll give my opinion. So the big complaint about The Force Awakens is that there are tremendous parallels with Episode 4.
Yeah, it was a rehash. Obviously.
It was a rehash, and Snoke, I feel is fair to say, was the Emperor Palpatine of this new crop of this new generation of Star Wars movies.
Agreed.
So I think people were expecting like the Emperor, like, and I haven't seen The Force Awakens in a while, so I don't remember how much of a big deal Snoke was made up to be.
He wasn't.
But
He was a hologram, from what I remember.
Yeah,
Yes.
from what I
You
remember.
never saw him physically.
From what I remember, we saw him in 2 scenes, and those 2 scenes were hologram scenes. And
just like the Emperor, I believe. I don't think the Emperor was shown physically in A New Hope at all.
And I think he was used similarly as Palpatine was in Episode 4, in that he is motivation for our Darth Vader / Kylo Ren to he's his boss, right? Like, he's his boss. But nobody made a big deal out of him, in my opinion. And in this movie, he is dispatched. What is your opinion on Snoke and this whole situation with him?
Okay, so for me, I think that in in The Force Awakens, like you said, there's a lot of parallels, right? Like, if you don't see the parallels, you've never seen Star Wars. Like, it's what I would imagine, right? It's almost a carbon copy, which is fine for what they were trying to do. That being said, The Last Jedi takes some of the things from Empire and from the original trilogy in general and plays with those things, right? And says, okay, you're expecting us to go this way, we're going to go this way, and stuff like that, right?
Luke Skywalker even says it. This is not going to end how you think it's going to end.
Right. Spoiler alert, check out the name of the movie. Just saying. But that all being said, with Snoke, people wanted him to be a big deal. That doesn't mean that the writers wanted him to be a big deal. So I get that you want Snoke to be this grand, sort of Svengali type character behind the scenes, but that's not who the character was. There was no indication that he was any bigger part of this trilogy than Palpatine was. And I think that people's view of Palpatine is completely changed because they saw the prequels. If you take the prequels out of it, you don't know anything about him. You don't know anything about him at all. He literally sits in a chair and goes, yeah, do it.
He sits in a chair.
And then he fucking gets murdered.
He sits in a chair and influences the main bad guy of the movie.
Which is what Snoke does.
Right.
And then he dies.
and then
by
right,
the
and then he
hand
dies.
of his apprentice. Again, I've said this offline, and I'll say this here. I feel like a lot of people who say they love these movies and they love the original so much and have so many complaints about this movie, I feel like you don't remember the movies, the originals, because it's blatant things that are one-to-one comparisons.
Right.
That, like, look, you might not like the way Snoke died, but what you cannot say is that Snoke is any more or less important than Palpatine was in the original. He simply is not.
Right.
So, again, you could pretend that that's not true, but that doesn't make it a fact.
Yeah, I was very concerned when I saw The Force Awakens and I saw a big bad Sith telling another Sith what to do via hologram, because I was like, oh, all right, well then
Yeah, we have seen this before.
we're gonna do this again, right?
Right.
And Kylo Ren is gonna get redeemed in the third movie, and he's gonna kill him, right? I am super happy that this is not what is happening.
Right.
I'm super happy that Kylo Ren appears to be like, this is the birth of a new emperor in Kylo Ren.
Yes.
Like that is what jazzes me up, man. Sometimes you just gotta have a bad guy be bad, man.
Yeah, I don't want him to be redeemed.
Right.
When he dies, I want him to be like, his last thought should be, I'm going to kill the good guy, stab, and then you should die. That's what it should be. We don't need him to be redeemed. Every villain does not need to have a redeeming quality. He doesn't need to be the Sandman at the end of Spider-Man 3.
Right.
I didn't mean to kill your uncle.
Yo, at the
Like, no, we don't need that.
At the end of this movie, Terrence, fucking Adam Driver is so fucking pissed.
He's super pissed.
It's like watching him. It's like watching Matt Hardy be broken and awoken. You know what I mean? Like he just is like what the fuck? Like why the fuck? Like what the yo?
The scene at the end, which we'll talk about, like, it is the greatest petty move of all time.
Yeah,
it is. And look, I know people didn't like the way Luke died, and we'll talk about that because I have my theories on that too. But it was the grand pettiest move that has ever been filmed, because Kylo Ren's response after that is like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he's so mad, and you go, "Yeah, I'd be pissed too. I'd be pissed too." And it's great because Luke's dying moment is just kind of like, "Fuck you, bye."
Dude goes on full tilt, man.
Yeah, Luke's last words to Kylo Ren are fucking great. "See you around, kid." And it's just like, deuces. That shit is amazing. He went out like a boss. I thought so.
He did, man. He did.
All right, so more on this article.
The second big
This modern Mein Kampf.
the second big problem that fans apparently have is the parentage of Rey. So Rey is a parallel to Luke Skywalker in the original.
Another parallel. Interesting.
An orphan from a planet full of sand that has special gifts. But in the original, Luke is the descendant of someone great, right? He's the descendant of Darth Vader. So I guess people were anticipating that Rey's parents would be someone of note. A lot of people thought that that Luke Skywalker was her father, or that Obi-Wan Kenobi was her father, even though Jedi are really not supposed to have relationships because they're like monks.
Sorry. I'll never be a Jedi.
Yeah, fuck that. The dark side is that you can fuck people on the dark side.
That's why they call it the dark side.
And in the movie, from what we're told by the villain, keep that in mind. You know, it's not like a Force user has lied about someone's parents before, but whatever. Let's just fly off the handle. Kylo Ren tells Rey that her parents are nobodies. And that is. Oh, you want to know who your parents are? Say it with me. They're nobodies. They were fucking crackhead junkies.
I mean, that's
that's basically what he said, yo.
He was like, they weren't worth shit. They sold you for some like food and a good time or some shit like that.
Right. Like
sold you for an 8-ball. Like they didn't give a
they were a bunch of fucking meth head, crackhead junkies, yo.
Licking crack off a plate.
Yeah. They stole $2,000 out of her Force Bible and used it to buy crack.
More on that later. Don't read ahead.
Yeah, she says your parents are nobodies. And so what do you think about that?
I actually like that. One of the big criticisms of The Force Awakens was that it is a carbon copy of the originals and that it didn't go its own way. Then the argument now is I would like a carbon copy of the originals that does not go its own way. I don't understand. Because a lot of the questions are the exact opposite of what you got in the originals, but people are mad about that, but you were also mad because they copy things in the last one. Okay, that's a generality. But about her parents, I like the fact that the universe isn't tied so tightly to the Skywalkers. That's not what the Star Wars universe is about. They are a major part of it, certainly, but I didn't think that it was necessary to do that, which ties into the ending, which I thought was really powerful, is showing this kid who clearly has Force powers, who's a nobody. He's a slave on that fucking planet.
He's essentially the new Luke.
Yes. And that's, again, people just ignored that, and they're just like, whatever, it's just some kid. I'm like, no, it's not just some kid. It means that there are more Force-sensitive people out there than just the people that you know. You don't know this kid's name. You don't even know that kid is going to be anything, but it's just to show at a certain point that kid possesses Force powers.
Yeah.
So, no, I didn't have a problem with Rey's parents not being anybody special. Look, you and I have had this conversation back before this movie even came out that, you wanted to see something outside of just the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Guess what? You got it. You got somebody who was trained by a Skywalker, but she has her own path. And what they did, which I thought was important, is that gives her agency. It doesn't tie her to someone else, and she's only interesting because she's related to Ben Kenobi. No, she's interesting because she's Rey. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a message because she's a woman, right? Give her agency in this universe. I thought it was smart.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna be so upset if because something like that just feels contrived.
It's too easy
and lazy.
It's lazy. Yeah,
it's creatively lazy, in my opinion, to just make her a part of this famous bloodline. And someone in our fan group under our spoiler section when we talk about this, they equated the Force to I forget who it was. I'm sorry, but it's a perfect analogy. They equated the Force to athletes or geniuses, in that growing up, when you're born, everyone has the potential, but not everybody can be an athlete or be a genius, right? And
you're over 6 feet and you can't play basketball for shit.
Right, exactly. I don't know what the fuck a basketball looks like. I thought it was oblong, brown, made out of pig's skin or something like that.
Yeah, this is why you're not good.
This is exactly why I'm not good. And
you're never going to be a part of the big baller brand, I can tell you that.
Good. That guy looks like Donkey Kong. Fuck him.
I mean, he sort of acts like Donkey Kong. So that's a fair assessment.
But yeah, so
never lost.
And I bring that up because look at athletes, right? If you go to the average football player, their parents aren't athletes.
Yeah, not on average.
They're nobodies. They're fucking nobodies who live in Florida. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, her not having famous parents, like you said, it gives her agency. It makes her special.
Yes.
And not just another Skywalker.
Right, because it would be easy to dismiss her in the pantheon of Jedi because she would just be, oh, you're just another Skywalker or whatever. Right. You're important because Luke is important. Right. You're important because Darth Vader is important. Not you're important because you're important. That's, I
think that's a really, really powerful message.
I think so. And this is just a general response. This is not to anybody specifically. But I think it does matter if you're coming from a perspective of, and I know this is going to be taken the wrong way, and I wish people would actually just listen. It really matters if you're watching these movies from a minority perspective versus someone in the majority. It does. Look at all of the characters that they've chosen. There is a woman who leads the series, a black guy, an Asian woman now, a Latino guy, right? Like, they are positioning themselves for what the future of this country, of the world looks like, right? It is more diverse. This idea that, this is why people said that she was a Mary Sue and all this other shit, because this idea of a quote-unquote minority character in this universe has not been seen. And so to put her out front and say, yes, she is special, and she's special just because. Luke was just special. I mean, Luke was basically special because Vader was special, but Vader was special just because. Like, he just was. And everyone just went, okay. Like, no one called Anakin Skywalker a quote-unquote Mary Sue when he won the pod racing
What
shit.
the fuck is a Mary Sue?
Basically, the term is used for somebody who's like a character, normally female, who's has special powers for no reason, right? She's the best of the best for no reason, and like
She's the best of the best because she's a girl.
right,
And
exactly.
people are scared to,
Yeah, because guys can be special in movies, and it's totally fine,
Right.
So like this idea of calling her a Mary Sue,
Mary Sue come from?
just like generic, like a generic girl is.
There's a reason why it's called a Mary Sue. I didn't give enough of a fuck to.
No, it's
to
because it's a
figure it out.
ridiculous insult, I think. But nobody called Anakin a Mary Sue character when he won the pod race and did all these amazing things when
Right.
he was young. He wasn't taught by anybody. He didn't get taught until basically the second movie in the prequel trilogy. No one ever said that. So why is it crazy that she has some level of ability?
Right.
And she also was older when she found out about this stuff, and she was a survivor. So it's not crazy for her to have some level of survival skills.
Yeah.
So
she was abandoned at birth
by two crackheads.
by two fucking crackheads.
Right. So like, they're like crackheads. They got to make moves. But again, for these people who are hardcore Star Wars fans, I feel like you don't pay attention to the actual movies. Like, if you just go back and watch them and look at the messages that they're saying, none of this shit is not blueprinted. Like, it is all there. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't mean I loved everything about it, but
Yeah, we'll talk about the stuff that I didn't, and I think you're in agreement with me. But the last point that is in this article is about Luke, and people don't like how Luke was treated. I think people wanted Luke to remember that scene in Episode 2 where Yoda fights Count Dooku.
yeah, it was terrible.
I think that's what people wanted. I think people wanted.
Garbage.
I think people want. Fucking Yoda comes out and he pulls his fucking mini like lightsaber out and he starts flipping around, this fucking old man. And I think that's what people wanted. And they got a Doctor Strange ending.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get their.
Do you know what the ending is?
To what?
To
To
The
this
Last
movie?
Jedi?
So the last big fight, right? Luke Skywalker comes out of nowhere like a fucking badass, right? The First Order has the good guys pinned down in one location and they're stuck. And they're waiting for this gun to charge up so they can blow a hole in it. And Luke Skywalker comes out and he walks out onto the battlefield, right? And Kylo Ren is like, use every gun you have to blow that man up.
Yeah.
And
It's
they-
actually a hilarious scene.
And they do it, right? Like, it's just like everybody is just firing a bunch of fucking guns to the point where Donald Gleason is like, I think that's enough.
Like, he literally was like, I think you got it. Yeah, like, just calm down, dude. Just calm down.
Luke Skywalker.
By the way, Donald Gleason is great. He is great in this
yeah,
role.
he's
I
funny
love
in
him.
this movie,
Yeah,
man.
I like him a lot.
Fucking Luke Skywalker comes out and the nigga brushes his shoulders off.
Yeah, he's just standing there.
So Kylo Ren is like, all right, fuck this. I'm going down there because fuck this guy, right? Because he has his reasons for hating Luke Skywalker, which I think are fucking great. Like, it's
Yeah, they're
high
valid.
drama.
They're valid.
And they come out and they're standing, at each end of the screen. It's a beautiful shot, right? And Kylo's got his fucking lightsaber out, like he's ready to fucking go. And he's just running at Luke. And Luke is just like he's like Neo when he found out he was the one, right? And it turns out Luke was just a hologram. That nigga was swinging the air.
Yeah.
And Luke is back off on this planet that we've already established that he's been on. And he is projecting this
Through the
force
Force.
image of himself.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot out of him. And it drains him to the point where he dies.
Right. Now he does he also, at the same time, he's buying time
Yeah,
for
I
the
was about to say
resistance.
he's giving him time to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
You ain't seen the movie, you know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
because
Okay.
it's
Like
not that hard.
again, these are not. This is not high level movie making, right? But people didn't like the way that Luke died because people wanted, like you said,
People
they
wanted-
wanted the fucking Count Dooku Yoda fight.
Luke
Right.
is like 79 years
Thank
old.
you. Thank you. And look, here's the
Like
thing.
they would have had to like CG that fight.
And it would have looked bad.
Yeah.
It would have looked bad. Also, people, again,
Luke established.
so much about this movie where I feel like people don't watch these movies. Like, you hated Kylo Ren in the last movie. So what you wanted, let me get this straight. What you wanted was Kylo Ren to have a lightsaber fight with your favorite Jedi that you love so much, and you wanted the guy that you hate, this young prick that you hate, to beat him in a fucking lightsaber fight.
No, they didn't. They wanted the guy that they love, Luke
To
Skywalker, to beat the shit out of the guy that they hate.
That's not gonna happen. He, like Darren said, he's like 79 years old.
And within the rules of the movie, like he had cut himself off from the Force, so it literally would be like forgetting how to fight. Like he
Like,
wouldn't
come
be
on.
able to, like he physically wouldn't be able to do it. But look,
I have a theory.
I didn't have a problem with it. I thought that it was incredibly clever,
I thought it
and
was clever.
and I thought that it was a heroic death. You know, to give everything you have to sacrifice your life for your sister and a bunch of people they don't know, especially given that, you know, he was an old cranky like old hermit. Like all Jedi do when they get old, apparently.
Yeah,
they just
'cause they're
turn
not
into
allowed to get
crazy
laid.
old hermits.
You're not allowed to get
Right,
laid.
because they got fucking blue balls and they're just fucking mad.
Yeah, I get it. But okay, so here's my other theory about the ending. People didn't want Luke to die.
Yeah, people
That's
don't want
it.
to lose the guy. Guess what? That was the whole point.
Yeah.
That's why Harrison
Last
Ford
Jedi,
died.
Thank you. Who do you think was gonna die, guys? Who do you think was gonna die? Who do you think? You thought it was gonna be Rey, right? The new young star, or the 79-year-old damn near octogenarian who came back to do one last ride in these movies? Come on, man. People, like, don't be obtuse. You knew Luke was gonna die. Spoiler alert: if Carrie Fisher hadn't died in real life, guess what? She would have died in the third one.
Yeah,
She would have.
because that fulfilled, like, the first one was Han's movie,
Thank you.
the second is Luke's movie, this third one probably would have been
Carrie Fisher's movie.
right, Carrie
Yes.
Fisher's movie.
Like, why are we pretending like we don't know this just to be mad? Like, look, I get not liking the ending, that's fine. But if you can't tell me a way you would have wanted to see Luke die in this movie, I don't give a fuck about your opinion. Because it's bullshit. It's just an opinion to be upset. You cannot just be upset on something you knew was gonna happen. I'm really upset it's Friday and they came and picked up the trash. Well, they pick up the trash every Friday. So what the fuck are you mad about?